All right. Good afternoon, everybody. David Paul with you here in the KHOU Lim Weather Center. We are again tracking a potential flash flooding threat. Flash flood watch remains in effect for most of southeast Texas, but we may be able to chink off some of our northern counties because the heavy rain has been and continues to be right along the coast right now, and I'll show that to you in just a second. I wanted to first give you a setup as to why the rain is happening and why it is where it is and why it's going to be moving where we think it's going to move here. First of all, we've had this cold front push into Texas. It is 56 degrees in Dallas right now. In the middle of May, 56 in Dallas, 61 in Austin. That is way unusually cool. They've got a north wind. It's part of this unusual dip in the jet stream, allowing cold air to come down. That has pushed a surface boundary all the way into southeast Texas. Now, Houston is 73, but our northern counties have a north wind, and our southern counties have a south wind, and that is causing a convergence zone right along the coast. North wind across Harris County, south wind coming up along the coast. I'll zoom in on that. See where the winds are coming together right here along the coast? So that's creating convergence right at the coast, and that's why we've got the lift and the heaviest rain along our coastal counties. And it looks like that convergent zone is going to stay right where it is. And in fact, later this afternoon, push off the coast and take the rain with it as we clear out later today. But as long as it stays right near the coast, you've got a heavy rain threat. Galveston's under a flash flood advisory right now for street flooding in Galveston County right along the beaches and the island there. This is Sunday morning. North breeze kicks in across the entire area. This is why Mother's Day is going to be beautiful. Sunday looks beautiful. In fact, we may have lows in our northern counties in the upper 50s tomorrow morning. Way cooler than we're used to in May. But we'll take it. Cool Mother's Day, maybe even a cool Monday as well. Lows in the 50s are expected Monday morning here for the middle of May. That's just amazing. So that's what the winds are doing. Here's what the rain is doing. Big picture stuff, first of all. We do have scattered thunder showers across central Texas. No flash flooding occurring there right now. Along the coast, that band of rain is heavy, and there will be lots of high water spots right along the beaches and the coastal counties here. Matagorda County, Matagorda Bay, the coastal counties there, Matagorda itself. Lake Jackson down to Surfside, heavy rain. Angleton, Alvin, you may see rounds of heavy rain. But at the moment, the only advisory for flooding in southeast Texas is right along the beaches, the island of Galveston. So Jamaica Beach, Indian Beach, up to downtown Galveston, the Strand, very heavy rain. There will be some high water spots on the roadways there in Galveston. But that's the worst of it right now. Also, Beaumont, they are under a flash flood warning. They've got more saturated ground. They're getting some significant street flooding there in the Beaumont area. I know it says Nederland, but Beaumont's right there. And so that's where the only actual flash flood warning that's in effect right now. So far, you know, inland counties, Houston, Harris County, most of the county, it's only been light drizzle and mist. And it's coolish. We're in the upper 60s, low 70s. There has been some heavy rain in southeast Harris County. Baytown, been watching you, but no flood advisory there, just some rain so far. And again, that stuff out to the west at the moment doesn't look floody-ish right now. So we're watching that as well, but this is where the really heavy rain stuff. If this band of rain were 20 miles inland, coming across the 59 corridor, we would be popping flash flood warnings and bayous would be rising, and it would be an absolute mess across Houston, Harris County. So we're on the edge, but so far that edge is right along the coast, and it's most likely to stay along the coast. There are some little pieces of energy, some little vortmaxes coming up Matagorda Bay, Matagorda County, and some of the models want to sweep some of that rain across Houston eventually before it clears out later in the afternoon. That's what the computers want to do, but what I'm seeing is that's not what's happening right now. This is staying fairly close to the coast, but we'll watch and see if that's able to bulge in across Richmond and Rosenberg and Sugar Land and Houston a little later on as we go through the day. But so far so good. Anytime you got a line of thunderstorms like that with heavy rain on saturated ground, it makes me nervous to watch it. Galveston, there's the heavy rain and thunder for you. Flash flood advisory for Galveston Island. It does not include you guys in Texas City and League City and Lamarck and Hitchcock, but it does include Galveston Island, so Jamaica Beach, downtown Galveston getting very wet. Bolivar Peninsula not included in that right now. But again, you can see that's the heavy rain 20 miles south of Houston, we'll take it, because if this were up in here in the Houston area, we would be popping flash flood advisories and maybe some flash flood warnings because of all the bayous and the saturated ground. Again, here's Houston. So far, you know, downtown out to northwest Harris County, up to the Spring and Cypress area, out to Katy, out to the Spring Valley. It's just drizzle, mist, and it's coolish. You've got a north breeze here, and that north breeze is helping to push and focus the rain to the coast, not up in the Houston-Harris County area. Bay Harbor down to Freeport and Surfside and down toward Matagorda Bay, it's very heavy rain. There have been some pockets of breaks, and then right here, that's that bright band right here. That might be producing some small hail there just east of Palacios, but that's the heaviest storm right now. And again, it's, you know, that may cruise across Angleton, Alvin. We'll keep an eye on that. So Brazoria County, Matagorda County, Galveston County, you will see street flooding here, but that so far is the worst of it, and we can handle that. Here's the bigger picture. And just eyeballing it, you know, even the southern end of this line has a little bit of an easterly component to it. So that's moved out over the water right now. It will probably end up clipping Matagorda County, Brazoria County, but the overall trend is going to be for this line itself to begin to work out to the east. And you can see why. There's more of a parent low spinning right here, and as that low moves by, the backside has that component, that offshore component to it. So as that moves up the coast, that offshore component is going to help to pull that line a little bit further offshore. I mean, if this were to move 20 miles inland, we would have significant flooding problems in Houston. But so far, it's right along the coast. And don't underestimate this. You're going to see a whole lot of high water spots on those secondary roads and feeder roads and low-lying areas. And there are a bunch of them along the coast: Matagorda County, Brazoria County, Galveston County, Chambers County. But at the moment, you know, that's just sticking to the coast. And I think as this little, you can see this spinning. There's a little counterclockwise spin to that. So we've got a little area of low pressure out here right there. And as that moves up the coast, you know, by the time that low is sitting up here, that counterclockwise flow is going to be pulling an offshore breeze, and that should tug that line a little further offshore. In fact, you can see another little vort down here, and that's got a northeast component to it as well. So all of this tells me that that band of rain, the heavy stuff, should stay on the coast and then push offshore. Boy, that's a mess. And then push offshore eventually as we head through the next couple of hours. It's not set in stone. Watching it carefully, cautiously optimistic that this is all going to work out. So this is one of the computer models. This is the RPM. And boy, this did not initiate well. So it does have the coastal rain. This is one of the models that suggests we'll have rain move through the Houston area at 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's possible that that scenario could play out. I think it's unlikely, because if you go back, and we always look for model initiation, so you know, here we are at noon. It was suggesting that it would look like this at noon, and it doesn't look like this. What we have actually is this band of rain right here, instead of just a couple of showers here and that one down there toward Victoria. So that didn't initiate too well. What I'm going to do is dig into this a little deeper, and let's change computer models. All right, so that is the rapid refresh. So let's look at the RPM. Let's see how this one initiated. So it did have coastal showers at 11. This is what it was forecasting for 11 o'clock this morning. And that's not what the radar looked like at 11 o'clock this morning. The radar actually had a significant band of storms right across the coastal counties. So again, the RPM, this computer model did not initiate well, so confidence that its solution is correct is very low. So let's see what its solution is. Let's see where it wants to take the rain. Again, this is a computer model. See, and it also wants to bring in that rain. It wants to sweep it up across the Houston area. So the models want to sweep the rain inland. The computers want to sweep it in here and give us a chance for a flash flood in Houston-Harris County. At the moment, though, that's not what's happening. So that's why I always have to look at the computer models and then see what's actually happening. That's the RPM sweeping the rain inland. At least it's moving. If that happens, it should move through very quickly. But again, that is not what is actually happening right now. What's happening is this. So the computer suggested this stuff down here is going to sweep up across southeast Texas. Is that what's happening? And this might be trying to build a little bit inland. It's worth keeping an eye on. But really looking at storm motion, it's almost exactly right up the coast. So to extrapolate that out, it would again be maybe southeast Harris County, Baytown, maybe Pearland, Friendswood. We get some heavy rain here in a couple of hours. But we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. Sometimes you just have to wait and see how it's going to play out. All the computer forecasting in the world, sometimes you just have to babysit the radar, which is what we're doing, babysitting the radar and just watching carefully and see how it plays out. Pasadena, you're getting a scattered shower. I'm getting the thumbs up from Dion. Look what you made me do. Thumbs up. So we have some extra crews in here in case we need to break into programming for flash flooding. And at the moment, everybody's just sitting around bored, which is good. Okay, once again, this is heavy rain, and this is going to cause a lot of high water spots across our coastal counties, Matagorda County, Brazoria County. That's an intense little downpour there, Angleton, Alvin, Freeport. And yeah, maybe that is going to try to build in here. Maybe the computers are onto something. It looks like the tail end of that does kind of want to lift. It's lifting up toward New Gulf and Brazos Bend State Park. So it's going to take some watching. It'll be a race to see if we can get that coastal low to move off the coast. And again, I like to pull out and just look at the big picture. I mean, it's paralleling the coast right now. So unless this sends out an outflow boundary, which it could, and brings heavier rain up toward Houston, you know, and there's a little bit of, see how this pushed out an outflow boundary? Right like that. So we have this line of storms, and it's raining heavily, and that's taking air with it. That air is hitting the ground, and then it's pushing out along the surface of the ground. And it has sent out a little bit of an outflow boundary inland. See that building up there into Liberty County? And see how it's a little bit of building right in here. So we may have another line about to form here. We may not be out of the woods here just yet. So for the moment, here's where we stand. And we'll let this update wrap up, and we'll break in here on social, on our webpage. I think we're on YouTube as well. We'll break in here again if something changes, and if it gets bad, we'll go to the TV side as well. But right now, aerial flood advisory for street flooding, Galveston County, Galveston Island. That's the only warning in the Houston area. North side, Sealy to Houston, it's been a light north breeze and mist. Here's the northern edge of the band, and we'll just have to wait and see if that builds inland and gives Houston-Harris County a flash flood threat, or if it stays where it is. And eventually, we think this whole mess will push offshore. We've got a few hours to watch and babysit the whole situation. All right, so that's our update here at noon. If you're on the coast, you live in Galveston, I would stay home, stay off the roads, a lot of high water spots. You don't want to damage your car or get yourself in some sort of flooding trouble. Again, that flash flood warning over there in the Nederland-Beaumont area is active until 1:45. Galveston flood advisory for street flooding active until 1:45. We'll have another update at a minimum at 1 o'clock, so we'll see you then.